Got it.
Ooh.
Oh, boom.
Ooh,
Oh.
Tom
was a
Cruise
sight
with
shot.
a W.
That was a sight shot. Very beautiful.
Oh no, 2 big 31 Fs.
Oh, run, Tom Cruise! 1,
okay.
2,
No!
3, 4,
3,
5,
4,
6,
5, 6,
Oh my
7, 8,
God.
9, 10, 11, 12, 1 and 13. 1,
And 13. 2
1
and
and
13.
15.
He
1 and
escaped.
15,
He
and you made it
escaped.
out.
Holy shit.
If it had hit twice, he'd be dead.
Hey nerds, it's been a while. We're back to doing some war games / Warno / real-time strategy stuff as opposed to just terrorizing people in squad. This is Warno, which, believe it or not, is not a toilet clearing or a drain clearing product that you would find at your local Home Depot or hardware store. It's a real-time strategy game. Not quite sure about the naming conventions on that. My only guess would be that Warning Order was trademarked and there would be legal consequences if they use that name. So, Warno it is. It is a little bit rough, but overall has a lot of promise. Like, this game is really enjoyable from the team play perspective. 1v1 is a complete absolute disaster right now, or maybe I'm just absolutely terrible. It's probably that I'm absolutely terrible. But the game has a lot of potential. Let's start with the good, because, like, for an early access game, this is pretty good. The aesthetic is fantastic, as you can see in the background. It has the aesthetic of a military command tent. It's a little bit of a clunky menu, but once you get used to it, it's pretty familiar. The overall aesthetic, though, with all the 80s themes is just fantastic. The synthwave music is great. Like, honestly, the soundtrack is probably the best part of Warner right now. I turned off my shitty 2000s Eurotrance for it, which is saying something because I love shitty Eurotrance. Like, that's my bread and butter. The major downside I found, though, in Warner was that there is no automatic, which is saddening. Really is. They should probably change that with an Italian division or a Danish division, perhaps. Another downside is rocket helos are still really, really, really good, and I got absolutely dumpstered by them in my first tournament game. I just played very poorly, and my Strelas got bullied by a Mi-24. It was not a great experience. I don't recommend it. Yeah, that was extremely painful. There's a lot of fine tuning to be done with A. The ranges, some of them need to be bumped up because Books and Osas are hilarious right now. They're very ineffective overall. The F-15 is an absolute monster, as you saw. 50% ECM with a bunch of shitty MiG-31 missiles. You might as well not even bring out your MiG-31 at that point. There's a lot of fine tuning that needs to be done. It's the first week of an early access game, and that's something the wargame community really needs to sit down and understand, is that this is not a game that's going to be made overnight. This is not EA, even though EA puts out a lot of trash, and 2042 was a great example of that. The dev teams at EA are hundreds of people in size, and the dev team at Eugen is probably well under 100 at this point, with a lot of younger junior developers who are not as familiar with game design code. It's more of a passion thing. Like, I can't reiterate this enough. The people developing indie games right now it's a passion project for them, because these people can go make substantially more money, 10, 20, 30, 40% more money by writing any other code for any large business. The people making these games are the people who are passionate about, in this case, real-time strategy games, because there are so many more other ways to make money in IT. Speaking from experience, I'm a computer engineer for almost a decade now, so be patient with the devs in this situation, because they are under a lot of stress right now to finish their sprints and deliver a finished product. I mean, that doesn't say just give them a pass for everything. Like, obviously, the UI needs some improvement. They probably have a UX designer working on it right now, and that poor person is probably in, like, the 8th or 9th ring of hell right now, because all the wargame community is doing is just ripping the UI apart. And if there's anything the wargame community is good at being, it's extremely toxic. So yeah, just give them chance to make the game better and to make improvements. Right now, we're seeing a very good base of a game. Obviously, there's a ton of stuff we'd love to see changed and going forward, but it's nice to have Eugen making a game in the Cold War setting, because right now we really don't have a ton of Cold War games. There's basically going to be this and 83 coming out from the guys who did Rising Storm. So this is what we got. So if you're a fan of Cold War games, this is what you're working with for the next year or two. I have faith in believing that this is going to be a much better polished product towards the end of 2022, because they've been very, very receptive to constructive criticism. Like, we're getting patches weekly. Like, this is how game development should be done in this day and age with a small budget from an indie company. And nothing's going to be perfect, but this is a pretty constructive approach of going about it. They've been very communicative on their Discord. The patch logs on Steam are looking great. Like, I have nothing but good things to say about this experience so far. I mean, people are artistically screeching about the UI, but like, man, y'all have played Tarkov for like 3 or 4 years. Like, you remember 2018 Tarkov, 2019 Tarkov? Holy shit, what a disaster. And it's come substantially far in a few years. So I would say be patient, give the game time. And I suggest, if you really enjoyed Wargame, you will probably very much enjoy this game. And I would pick it up. If you're on the fence, watch a bit more, give it another 3 to 6 months, and pick it up if it goes on sale. So, yeah. Thank you for watching, and thank you for hearing out my thoughts on things. And if you're curious to see some gameplay, I am streaming Warno on Twitch. I also am playing Squad, and so you can find me on Twitch pretty much every weekend from about 12 o'clock to 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So that's 6 hours behind you guys in Europe. Other than that, have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful weekend. See you guys.